So, the bombs are set up. Heading to the bridge. They said that the military guy was woken back up, so everybody should be able to make an escape. Everything seems to be going well. Now we just need something to screw it up. Is it? Yeah, because it's going way too smoothly. I mean, obviously there's, like, what do you call it? Coral all over the place. And
hello, Red. Nice to see you. Diagnosing bruising, abrasions, fatigue. Nothing life-threatening. I'll have you feeling better soon. Good as new. You can fill out a service questionnaire at the front desk.
The place is a mess, but so it's no good, but at least our plans are going accordingly. Now I'm second guessing myself about which plan to do again. Well, in the end, they're just gonna use the station for weird experiments, so, like, it seems like everyone that isn't in the room waiting for us to save them is pretty much just dead already. Or, you know, has contacted one of us. So, if we do self-destruct, get out of here. There we go. If we do self-destruct, it's just a monetary loss. Essentially. I mean, there will be some research that's lost, but maybe it's better off left lost. I mean, anything that you have to inject your eye is probably not worth it. But still, that's not the biggest problem with it.
Microgravity detected.
Right. Where is the bridge? It's this way. No, down. Oh, wow. Please don't burn me with your attack touch. What is this? Oh man, candy. Yes. I knew I took the right path. Oh hey. That stuff's actually useful. way. Where's that operator? There it is. Save me. It sure has. Thank you. Don't ask me about any kind of forms. They won't be filled out, and there's no one to read them anyway, so you know what? I am going to blow this station up just so the form database is clear. How about that? You want forms? All the forms in history are gone. End bureaucracy forever on Telos 1. I like how they keep making references to other stations, like, you know, there's the whatever one, and the whatever something else one, but like all of them are one. There's never a second
I'm aware that you've primed
station.
arming keys to destroy Talos 1, so I find the activation of this null-wave transmitter station puzzling. The directives you gave me require I do everything in my power to ensure you destroy Talos 1 and all the Typhon. Detonating the station safeguards the Earth, and perhaps provides a small measure of reparation. You know how neuromods are made. The demand will only increase. In the future Alex envisions, many will die for the benefit of a privileged few. I won't relinquish control of the terminal. If you want to activate the null wave, you'll have to kill me.
Yes, you told me that already. Where are the stairs? There they are. Okay, so because of reasons, I'm assuming that there's two endings. We're gonna do the self-destruct. Are you sure?
Warning, reactor
Yes.
detonation. It's finished. All the directives you gave me have been completed. All except when the station detonates, it will destroy the Apex Typhon and every trace of technology derived from it, including you. But you know this already. It was your idea, after all. The alien neuromods you carry would pose an unacceptable risk to everyone on Earth if you return. Have a seat, Morgan. You might as well enjoy the view in your final moments.
Well...
Warning, reactor detonation imminent.
Kayla, this is Morgan. Are you on your way? I'm not going to make it. What? Everything's fine. I got one of the escape pods working. Are you sure? Morgan, something's wrong. There's no time. Trust me. I'll see you Earthside.
Huh. Let me check these objectives again. So... sacrifice myself to spare Earth. Or get to the escape pod in Shuttle Bay. Where is Shuttle Bay? Relatively from here. Impossibly far away. I don't think I could get there in 2 minutes. What I could do is get to Alex's escape pod in the Arboretum. I don't really want to sacrifice myself. I mean, I get your intention, but maybe you should have said something about that before I started jamming a bunch of neuromods inside of myself. Alright. Let's see if I can get to the shuttle bay. I can either go through Guts, or I can go through the lobby. Alright, I'd have to go through the Arboretum first. If I go through the Arboretum, I would have to go...
Reactor detonation imminent.
I would have to go... Or I could go to Alex's escape pod either way. Which is worth checking out. I don't think that the kill yourself and everyone else station is the good, fun, happy ending. Though I don't think
Microgravity detected.
Morgan, I had to restrain Igwe several times by punching him. Who knows? I may have killed him.
What?
He tried to disable January. If you try to do the same, I can't let you do it. This station is proof of what happens when TranStar conducts operations unchecked. If the research survives, then the crimes here will continue, and these aliens, if even one survives, they'll escape again and again. Alex made his choice. Now, it is up to you to make the right one. If you want to trigger the null wave, you'll have to come through me.
Oh, that wasn't part of the deal a minute ago. I don't want to trigger the null wave though. Oh, is this gonna be another escape pod that doesn't work? Confirm and take a seat. Okay. Yeah.
I keep having this dream.
Okay. That's kind of a ambiguous ending, especially with this going on in the background. Keep having this dream. Does that imply that the entire thing was a test that she's still trapped in? I don't know. I'm more inclined to say it was just there to either set up a sequel or mess with people. I don't know. So, oh, this is a cutscene that kind of. I won't talk through it then. I'll talk a little bit through it. So the marketing for this had it as like the first, half hour where it's like a Groundhog Day kind of a thing, and you keep playing the same part over and over, and you're trying to find a way out of whatever's going on. Obviously that wasn't the case. It's pretty much a straight up kind of action RPG shooter with some extra stuff on the side, but it definitely wasn't the spiritual successor to BioShock, as much as it tried with every ounce of its being to do that. The marketing also kind of... Oh, it's that song that they played. Marketing also kind of leaned more towards horror and less towards, shoot bangs. And while there is a bit of, let's say, suspense, I wouldn't call it. It's a lot like Half-Life, right? Even the mimics sound like head crabs, and they behave a lot like them. They look like them. But it's got the same kind of feel where it's, there's aliens around and you have to deal with them, and they came in out of nowhere in this test facility, and you're just this lone person trying to deal with everything that's all these problems that are your own, and someone else is trying to cover them up, and stuff is, there's some overlapping plots that are kind of weaved together. Since there's so many being played in succession, I have to say the music in this is incredible. I think it's my favorite part of the game. By far. So I went into this kind of expecting, what can I compare it to? Resident Evil 7. With a little more action and a little less horror. And what I got was kind of, a standard shooter that it tried to be too many things at once. It tried to be BioShock, it tried to be Deus Ex, it tried to be There was one other that I kept thinking about. What was it? I'm sure it'll come to me, but well, whatever. The point is, it tried to go in every direction and kind of just, instead of being its own thing, it tried to be, it kind of just ended up being a puddle. Also, the difficulty was, maybe it was just me, but now we're entering a hidden location. The difficulty was way too high. Like, even on easy, it was a bit high. It seemed like it was tuned for like one specific upgrade path, and the game difficulty balance wasn't. It needed some work. Anyway, I'll probably talk about it later since I'm gonna do another ending, but let's get on with this.
It's finished. How did it do?
Activation of the mirror neurons is promising. Empathy quotient shows to be exceptionally high.
It probably thinks it was dreaming, and nothing mattered.
You're assuming it thinks like us.
Its life depends on it. Ours too. It all comes down to the choices it made.
It saved me from the cargo container. I would have suffocated otherwise, and later it recovered the Leitner connectomes. They were of no practical use, except that they were deeply meaningful to me. It installed multiple Typhon-based neuromods. It could mean an instinctive return to its own kind, or an attempt to integrate its dual natures. But its most surprising act was sparing Darth. While perhaps for purely selfish reasons, this, at least in principle, enabled others to escape Talos 1.
Michaela.
I would have died without my medication. That wasn't easy. That says a lot, I think, about its heart. Can I say that it has a heart? It also found my father's records. And then, I did not expect this, but it let me listen to them. Despite the self-incriminating content, it was willing to make itself vulnerable. Then, there was a man in psychotronics, Ingram. That was cruel. There was no other way to see it. But...
would you let it live?
yes.
Sarah, you're next.
Sarah.
The situation in the cargo bay
okay.
was bad. None of us would have survived without its help. And it destroyed a large number of Typhon across the station. That has to be a good sign. Further, it thwarted Dar's attempt to use us as hostages. If it were one of my officers, I would give it a commendation.
Danielle, what do you say?
It never saw me. It killed Volunteer 37, but it's hard to say why. A lot of humans controlled by the Typhon ended up dead. Not that it was easy to avoid, but I just don't think it's worth the risk.
In the end, it chose to destroy Talos 1. Why? To protect Earth? We can't really know what its motives were for anything it did.
But we had to make a choice. You can hear us, can't you?
Yes?
Here. I want to show you something.
Show me. Is it a mirror? Is it gonna be a mirror?
What you experienced was a reconstruction based on Morgan's memories. This is the world today.
Oh.
We spent years trying to put what you can do into us. We never tried putting what we can do into you. Until now. You're the bridge between our species.
So I'm a Typhon.
I need to know if you see us. I mean, really see us. Take my hand if you do.
Okay.
We're gonna shake things up, like old times.
Oh, wow. That's an ending I didn't see coming at all. Okay, so I was a Typhon the whole time. Alright, let's look at the other ending. And this is not where I meant to load into, is it? Alright, here's where I wanted to load into. Not self-destruct. Use the null wave transmitter. Hey, I got an achievement for that. How about that? And go.
What is a neuromod? Well, it's both an easy answer and a complicated one at the same time. It is the future, today. More importantly, our past, today. This is the work TranStar does. Every employee working together. It's immortality, and it is beautiful.
Okay, so I'm assuming that get another scene after the credits, but I'm wondering how that choice will affect the sort of epilogue scene. I'm assuming it'll be pretty much the same, but they'll just tell me my different choices. I liked how they all said, you know, that they went over all the choices, like the ethical, you know, kind of things that actually mattered. Or at least the ones that I bothered to do. I'm sure there were a bunch where it's just like, you know, I just either missed them or didn't do them, and then it's, you know, they're not gonna say you didn't do 50 million things. Anyway, back to the game itself. As a whole, I think that the marketing for it made it seem like something that it wasn't. And what it made it seem like was kind of a stealth horror, half-walking sim, like I said, kind of like Resident Evil 7, where you're kind of like slowly going through and, you know, checking little, you know, every corner out and taking your time and making sure you conserve your resources, which certainly was the case. But then the problem with that is you have to be able to either evade your enemies, which you can do that if you have, you know, you go down the neuromod path for that, or go around, you know, corners and different rooms and stuff. It's not exactly stealth, it's evasion. That's different. Like, you can't just run past them, you have to lure them out and do some stuff that I, to be fair, wasn't really doing, like using the lure grenade and I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of people who did this with stealth, but I wasn't one of them because neuromods were a pretty scarce resource and upgrades were expensive, and you can't have both. You have to either have expensive upgrades and throw a ton of upgrades, or have occasional upgrades, but each upgrade costs one or two, you know, whatever, neuromods, levels, points, things, whatever. It's a delicate balance, and I think the problem with this game is that there were a ton of balance problems in almost every aspect of it. The space exploration was one of, or not exploration, but the movement mechanics were one of the funnest parts of it. Just being able to move around in space it felt great, and I'm sure it controlled better with a controller. I was playing on the keyboard and mouse, obviously, but playing on a controller, I'm sure was much more fun. I bet, if harder to aim and stuff, but you know, that's the cost. But once you go out into space, there's all these missions or quests or whatever you want to call them that just get lost because there's no map for space, which is fine, but then you have to have some kind of way to navigate. You have to have some sort of landmark, which the airlocks did. They were labeled clearly with what location they led to. You know, this one leads to Psychotronics, or this one leads to hardware labs. But that was it. It was just the airlocks were labeled, and they needed to be, that's for sure. But as far as exploring space goes, that's the only thing that really you could navigate by. There were several missions in space and several objectives where it's just like, I'm not gonna do this because it would involve being in space and moving around and trying to find just a person floating out there, and I'm not gonna do that. And that's a shame, because it was fun. Alright, Hidden Location, Part 2.
It's finished. How did it do?
I also find it interesting that they're all robots.
Activation of the mirror neurons is promising. Empathy quotient shows to be exceptionally high.
It probably thinks it was dreaming, and nothing mattered.
You're assuming it thinks like us.
Its life depends on it. Ours too. It all comes down to the choices it made.
It saved me from the cargo container. I would have suffocated otherwise, and later it recovered the Leitner connectomes. They were of no practical use, except that they were deeply meaningful to me. It installed multiple Typhon-based neuromods. It could mean an instinctive return to its own kind, or an attempt to integrate its dual natures. But its most surprising act was sparing Da. While perhaps for purely selfish reasons, this, at least in principle, enabled others to escape Talos 1.
Michaela.
I would have died without my medication. That wasn't easy. That says a lot, I think, about its heart. Can I say that it has a heart? It also found my father's records. And then, I did not expect this, but it let me listen to them. Despite the self-incriminating content, it was willing to make itself vulnerable. Then, there was a man in Psychotronics, Ingram. That was cruel. There was no other way to see it. But...
would you let it live?
Yes.
Sarah, you're next.
The situation in the cargo bay was bad. None of us would have survived without its help. And it destroyed a large number of Typhon across the station. That has to be a good sign. Further, it thwarted Dar's attempt to use us as hostages. If it were one of my officers, I would give it a commendation.
Danielle, what do you say?
It never saw me. It killed Volunteer 37, but it's hard to say why. A lot of humans controlled by the Typhon ended up dead. Not that it was easy to avoid, but I just don't think it's worth the risk.
In the end, he chose to activate the null-wave device. Why? To preserve the Typhon technology? We can't really know what its motives were for anything it did.
But we have to make a choice. You can hear us, can't you? Here. I want to show you something. What you experienced was a reconstruction based on Morgan's memories. This is the world today. We spent years trying to put what you can do into us. We never tried putting what we can do into you. Until now. You're the bridge between our species. I need to know if you see us. I mean, really see us. take my hand if you do.
Alright, I'm gonna try killing them all this time, just to see the difference.
I don't understand.
Yes, die! You caused this. It's justified. And that's the end. Alright, well... I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was mostly enjoyable for me, except the parts that really, really weren't. If I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't have bought it. I give it a 6 out of 10. Bye.